Jake Humphries, PSP NFL. Let's talk about the second game. We've just locked in the play for the first game. It will be the Detroit Lions money line. And that play is going to be two stakes at $1.83 on William Hill. And I'm pretty happy with that play. There's probably not going to be a play that big for this game, but I think you'll find that I'll eventually put something out for this one. This one is more tricky for mine. The Washington Redskins at the Dallas Cowboys. The Washington Redskins are now a 6-point underdog. There's a lot of money coming in for the away team, and I don't know why. I guess it's an NFC East game. It's going to be pretty closely contested. The Redskins are 6-3-1. They're not a bad team, and I get the feeling that there's a bit of people kind of waiting. There's a few people kind of waiting on Dallas to finally have that loss or finally have that against the spread loss. They have won 9 in a row. They're 9-1 against they're 9-1 against the spread. It's crazy the run that the Dallas Cowboys have gone on, and it's really hard for me to bet against them anymore. I bet against them 8 times this year. I've gone 0-8. It's a crazy trend, probably the biggest run of failure I've had betting on, or betting against a team rather. And the reason I'm betting against the Dallas Cowboys frequently is because they have 2 rookies steering the ship. They've got Dak Prescott playing quarterback, who is a rookie, and they've got Ezekiel Elliott playing running back, who is a rookie. But I think the more important thing that I've failed to look at is that their offensive line, they're not rookies. They're young, 25, 26, 27, 28-year-old blue chip blockers, and they can make anyone look good. Now, do not think for a second that I'm discrediting Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. I'm not saying they're not great players. I'm not saying they're not doing an excellent job. I'm not saying they won't have long, successful careers. But I am saying it is a hell of a lot easier to play football, make big plays, and win games when you're playing behind an offensive line like this. And I think that offensive line there is the driving force behind this winning streak. And if I could put forward an MVP vote for not one offensive lineman, not Ezekiel Elliott, not Dak Prescott, I would put forward the vote for the entire offensive line. They are the most valuable group of players in the NFL, and they're the reason why Dallas are 9-1. One of the biggest reasons why Dallas are 9-1 is because of how good that offensive line is playing. And today they go up against the Washington Redskins, who don't have a very good defense. They don't stop the run very well. They don't stop the pass particularly well either. And Dallas are going to want to come out. They're going to want to run the ball. They're going to want to control the tempo. They're going to want to, dictate terms. Washington, when they get the ball, I think they're going to try and pass it. Kirk Cousins is the Washington Redskins' best offensive player, in my opinion. He's overtaken Deshaun Jackson. He's overtaken Jordan Reed. Kirk Cousins is scheduled to get a big payday. This guy kind of wasn't really the poster boy that the Washington Redskins had. They had Robert Griffin III a few years ago. He got injured. Kirk Cousins kind of came in because he was the next man up. He doesn't look incredibly appealing. He doesn't have that superstardom in terms of appearance, in terms of the way he dresses, in terms of his attitude, but he is a really good competitor. And another thing I'll touch on about Kirk Cousins, he's not incredibly athletic, and he's not tall built. It's crazy, but the perception we have on quarterbacks, and kind of, we talk about the throwing power, the arm strength. We talk about how tall are they? Are they well built? Are they handsome? Do they have swagger? It's 2017. We're comparing them to guys like Cam Newton. We're comparing them to old school guys like Tom Brady. And Kirk Cousins just doesn't... He's just Kirk Cousins, He's just a regular guy who went to Michigan State and happens to be a hell of a quarterback. He's playing really, really well. He's got 3 really good receiving targets or more. He's got Deshaun Jackson. He's got Pierre Garçon. He's got Jamison Crowder. He's got Jordan Reed. And he's coming up against a Dallas Cowboys secondary today that is very banged up. Morris Claiborne's gone. Barry Church is gone. Not sure what's happening with Orlando Scandrick. I can't recall if he played last weekend or not. But the point is that Dallas Cowboys secondary, which was already relatively weak, is now weakened And you're coming up against Kirk Cousins, who threw for, I believe it was something like 400 yards against the Packers last week. And I think they're going to have a relatively hard time stopping Kirk Cousins from doing his thing. The Dallas Cowboys will probably control the time of possession in this game. But when the Redskins get the ball, I think they're going to be looking for big chunks. This is an indoor game. And there's not going to be any weather elements that's going to affect this one. And Kirk Cousins has perfect conditions to throw the ball. And I think that this field and this place, the Cowboys Stadium, potentially favours the Redskins. Obviously, the crowd is going to favour Dallas incredibly, but when you're talking about how each team wants to play, how Dallas plays their football could be more well-suited to a rainy, outdoorsy type, run-the-ball, smash-you-in-the-mouth, high-completion passing kind of game. But the Washington Redskins, they rely on the deep strikes. They rely on the throws. They rely on the throws of 20 or more yards. They run the ball only to keep the element of surprise going. I think if they had it their way, they would probably pass every single play or most plays, but you can't do that in the NFL because defenses are so good that if you pass every single play, they're just going to eat it alive. So you have to maintain a balance. You have to run the football in order to open up the pass. But their passing game is certainly better than their running game. And I guess what I'm trying to say to you guys here is both of these teams have their own strengths. And it's very tricky for me to predict what's going to happen in this one because both teams are so good. The Dallas Cowboys are a little bit better. This line of 6 is a pretty big line, considering the fact that I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to have a pretty hard time stopping the Redskins. Is it time for the Cowboys to lose a game? Is it time for them to lose against the spread? I really don't know. I'm probably not going to end this podcast with a play. I'm going to end it relatively soon. And then I might come out and post a play. This is just to give you guys an idea of what I'm thinking. I would not go near the total match points because I know this total has gone from 48 to 52 or something like that. And I don't mess with totals when I'm following the public that strongly. It's gone 4 points up, and I feel like if everybody's following that and everybody's pushing that up, it's because the bookies want us to be pushing it up. I'm going to leave that one alone, okay? So it's 48.5, but up to 51.5 now. Look, it's a tough game. I do like the Redskins plus points. If I had to tell you, I like the Redskins plus points. You know what? I also like Kirk Cousins to throw for over 299 passing yards. Now, I'll tell you why I like that. Kirk Cousins is averaging 310 yards per game, right? When he played the Dallas Cowboys in Week 2, he threw for 346 yards. Kirk Cousins just recently threw for well over 300 yards. In fact, I'll get the exact numbers. How many yards did Kirk Cousins pass for last week against the Green Bay Packers? I'll tell you right now. Okay, guys, sit tight. Kirk Cousins last week against the Green Bay Packers threw for a grand total of 375 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Pierre Garçon had 6 catches for $116. Jamison Crowder 6 catches for $1, 3 catches for $102. Jordan Reed 5 catches for 79. Deshaun Jackson 4 catches for 51. So the guys that I mentioned are the guys who are doing damage. And coming up against the Dallas Cowboys secondary that I don't rate personally, I think the Dallas Cowboys defense is very much improved. But it is pretty easy to play defense when your offense is on the field so much. You get more time to rest, you get more time to game plan. And also, if you're ahead, it's easier to protect a lead because the offense is looking to pass more. Now, if the Dallas Cowboys do happen to get to a 17-point lead or a 10-point lead, you know, I think a 2-possession lead, I know what Jay Gruden's like. I think the Redskins are going to get pretty pass-happy pretty quickly. They know where they have their advantages. I think they're going to want to throw the football today and really test out the Dallas Cowboys secondary and exercise Kirk Cousins' ability as their franchise quarterback. So when you're talking about what I like Kirk Cousins over 299.5 passing yards. I like the Washington Redskins plus 6. That's about it. I'm going to come back after this with something confirmed, most likely. But as for this podcast, you're not going to receive an official play, but just listen to this to kind of help clear your mind, and hopefully it's helped you pick a side but you'll probably hear from me in about